Okay, so are you ready for this one?
Always.
All right, well, buckle up because today we're diving into Genting Malaysia,
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a wild
a
one.
company with casinos all over the place, from the Bahamas all the way to Vegas.
And they're reporting record profits.
They are, but they also just got kicked off a major stock index
Yeah.
and slapped with a massive lawsuit.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
What's really going on here?
Right, like are they a savvy player riding out some choppy waters?
Or are there some cracks starting to show in their empire?
Yeah, that's what we're going to try to figure out today.
Sounds good.
We've got a whole stack of press releases and financial reports.
News articles.
Oh yeah, tons of news articles to sift through.
Looking forward to it.
Just a heads up, we are going to uncover some pretty eyebrow-raising accounting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and allegations of a financial wasteland in paradise.
Interesting.
So let's start with the good news.
Okay.
Genting Malaysia is reporting some seriously impressive financial gains for Q3. In the first 9 months of 2024,
Okay.
their revenue for Q3 is up slightly to RM 2,749.1 million,
Right.
but their adjusted EBITDA.
Now, this is where it gets interesting.
Right.
EBITDA stands for earnings before interest,
Versus.
depreciation, and amortization.
Okay,
Essentially gives us a clearer picture of their operating profitability.
so stripping away all the financial smoke and mirrors.
Exactly. We're trying to see how the core business is actually performing.
And based on that adjusted EBITDA, it seems like they're doing pretty well.
Yeah, at least for now.
But if we zoom out to the first 9 months of 2024,
Okay.
the picture's even rosier.
Oh, wow.
Total revenue is up 10%
Right.
to RM 8,183.5 million.
Gotcha.
And that adjusted EBITDA has grown by a whopping 53%
Sure.
to RM 2,729.8 million.
Okay, wow. They're doing well.
They even said in their press release, and I quote, "The group is cautiously optimistic of the near-term prospects of the leisure and hospitality industry,
Makes sense.
and remains positive in the longer term." But I have to wonder, is this optimism misplaced?
Because
Despite these really impressive numbers, some pretty big red flags are popping up.
like,
First, Genting Malaysia got booted from the FTSE Bursa Malaysia KLCI index.
okay, can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so the KLCI is like the VIP club of the Malaysian stock market,
Okay.
made up of the 30 largest companies. Being removed from that index
Uh-huh.
limits Genting's access to certain types of investors.
Especially those big funds that track these major indices.
Right.
It also raises questions about their long-term stability.
So it's not just a symbolic slap on the wrist.
No, it could have real financial consequences.
Exactly.
And this move is made even more worrisome when you consider the analysis from Simply Wallsend.
Oh, what did they have to say?
They suggest that those strong earnings we talked about
Uh-huh.
might be built on some pretty shaky ground,
Okay.
pointing to unusual items.
And unusual items.
Yeah, that could be artificially inflating the picture.
Okay, so what could those unusual items be?
Unfortunately, they don't get specific.
Okay.
But when analysts use that kind of language,
Yeah.
it's usually a sign that something,
Doesn't...
it doesn't quite add up in the financial statements.
Mm-hmm.
Could be one-time gains
Okay.
or accounting maneuvers that are propping up those profits
Right.
in a way that might not be sustainable.
So that makes me even more curious about this massive lawsuit that Genting Americas is facing.
Right.
Their partner in the Bahamas, or Bahamas,
Uh-huh.
is accusing them of fraud for the tune of $600 million US.
So what are the details?
So Ray of Bahamas owns 22%
Okay.
of the Resorts World Bimini.
Gotcha.
They allege that Genting Americas engaged in a massive scheme to defraud them.
Okay, so what do they do?
They claim that Genting Americas essentially saddled the Bimini Resort with almost $1 billion in debt.
$1 billion?
Yeah.
Wow.
While concealing it through some creative accounting practices.
So they were using this island resort as a dumping ground for debt from other properties.
That's exactly what they're alleging.
Wow.
And to make matters worse, they claim that Genting Americas denied them access to financial records.
So they couldn't even verify what was going on.
Great.
Bold accusation. How is Genting responding?
They're denying everything, of course.
Okay.
Genting Malaysia has called the lawsuit baseless
Uh-huh.
and an attempt to extort money.
Okay.
They insist that they'll fight it vigorously in court.
So it's a classic he said, she said situation.
It is, but with incredibly high stakes.
Yeah. The Star pointed out that even though Genting might have the financial muscle to settle this lawsuit out of court,
Uh-huh.
the potential damage to their reputation could be devastating.
It really could.
Makes you wonder, what were they thinking?
I know, right?
On one hand, you have this company reporting record profits.
Right.
And on the other hand, you have these serious allegations of financial misconduct.
It's hard to reconcile the two.
It really is.
Yeah.
And this lawsuit isn't the only challenge they're facing.
What else is going on?
The whole landscape of integrated resorts is changing,
Okay.
and the competition is heating up across Asia.
So new players are entering the market.
That's right. And existing ones are upping their game.
So Genting Malaysia can't just rely on their past successes.
No, they need to innovate and adapt to stay ahead.
And they need to do it while managing this huge lawsuit
Right.
and potentially dealing with the fight out from those unusual items in their financial statements.
Yeah. That's a lot to juggle.
It is. So before we dive into those decisions,
Okay.
let's take a step back for a second and talk about why this whole story matters to you, our listener.
Right. Why should they care about what's happening with Genting Malaysia?
Because this deep dive offers lessons that extend far beyond casinos and resorts.
Okay.
It highlights the challenges that even the most successful companies face
Yeah.
in a rapidly changing world.
Okay.
Genting's situation is a reminder that past success is no guarantee of future performance.
Very true. It also underscores the importance of looking beyond the headlines and the carefully crafted press releases.
Yeah, those numbers don't always tell the whole story.
Right. Even companies reporting record profits can have underlying problems.
That could come back to bite them later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those unusual items we discussed earlier are a perfect example of that.
Right.
They remind us to be critical thinkers
Mhm.
and to dig deeper into a company's financial dealings
Okay.
before making any judgments.
Speaking of those unusual items, it's worth noting that Genting Malaysia's third quarter report does mention foreign exchange gains as a major contributor to their increased EBITDA.
Could this be what Simply Walsent was referring to?
It's certainly possible.
Okay.
And while foreign exchange gains can be legitimate,
Right.
they can also be volatile and unpredictable.
True. Relying too heavily on them to boost profits can be risky.
Because shifts in currency markets can quickly wipe out those gains.
Exactly. So it's a reminder that a single metric, like EBITDA, doesn't tell the whole story.
You need to understand the context, the underlying trends, and be wary of anything that seems too good to be true.
Exactly. Don't just accept things at face value.
Right.
Ask questions, dig deeper, and form your own informed conclusions.
So with all these challenges in mind,
Yeah.
what steps is Genting Malaysia taking to address them?
Are they actively trying to adapt and innovate?
Well, their press releases certainly highlight their plans for the future,
Okay.
emphasizing sustainable growth,
Uh-huh.
leveraging data analytics, and refining their marketing strategies.
Right.
They're also pouring resources into new attractions and experiences,
Like what?
like their ecotourism plans for Genting Highlands.
Interesting.
They're even exploring ways to expand in the U.S.
Okay.
and strengthen their cruise partnerships in the Bahamas.
Lots of ambitious plans.
They do have a lot going on.
But will it be enough?
That's the key question, right?
The success of these initiatives will depend on so many factors.
Like,
The global economy evolving consumer trends. And, of course, the outcome of that looming lawsuit.
right, it's a lot to juggle.
It is. They need to invest in growth and innovation
Right.
while also managing their finances responsibly and fighting off a major lawsuit.
It's like they're playing a high-stakes game of chess.
Yeah.
Where one wrong move could be disastrous.
And adding to the pressure, they have a ticking clock.
Wait for
That 2-year renewal period for Resorts World Sentosa's casino license.
Right.
They need to demonstrate significant progress quickly.
So will Genting Malaysia rise to the challenge and come out stronger on the other side?
Or will they crumble under the weight of all these pressures?
It's a question that has everyone in the industry watching closely.
And the answer could have far-reaching implications for the entire integrated resort landscape.
Well, before we get ahead of ourselves,
Okay.
let's go back to the lawsuit
Yeah.
and take a closer look at the specific claims being made against Genting Americas.
Right.
They're facing some serious allegations of financial manipulation.
Yes, the details are quite concerning.
Araf Bahamas alleges that Genting Americas deliberately obscured their true intentions
Okay.
and ultimately defrauded them through a pattern of financial maneuvering.
Okay.
They say it started with transferring huge sums of debt from other properties onto the books of Resorts World Bimini.
Essentially using the island resort as a dumping ground for their financial troubles.
Exactly.
And they claim this was done covertly,
Right.
using vague expense categories in their consolidated statements to mask the true nature of these transactions.
And it gets worse.
What else?
Rav Bahamas also alleges that Genting Americas completely shut them out of the financial records.
Making it impossible for them to understand the resort's true financial health
Right.
or verify the accuracy of those statements.
These allegations, if true, paint a disturbing picture of corporate misconduct and a disregard for their partners' rights.
Of course, it's important to remember that these are just allegations at this point.
They are.
Genting has vehemently denied any wrongdoing
Right.
and is prepared to fight these claims in court.
But the fact that these allegations are now public knowledge and are being scrutinized in court is already impacting Genting's reputation.
It raises questions about their corporate governance
Right.
and commitment to ethical practices.
And it's creating uncertainty for investors.
Right, who are now left wondering if this lawsuit is just the tip of the iceberg.
It's a stark reminder that reputation and trust are invaluable assets for any company.
Once tarnished, they can be incredibly difficult to restore.
They can. And it underscores the importance of due diligence for investors.
Before putting your money into any company, it's crucial to thoroughly research their financial history management team
Right.
and track record of ethical behavior,
This is a story that has captivated the business world.
and one that we'll continue to follow closely.
The outcome of this lawsuit could have significant implications for Genting Malaysia.
And for you, our listener, it serves as a valuable case study in the complexities of corporate finance, the importance of due diligence,
Right.
and the ever-present risks that come with investing in a dynamic,
And often unpredictable.
global marketplace.
But let's not forget that Genting Malaysia isn't just sitting back
Right.
and letting this happen.
No, they're actively trying to defend themselves and reassure investors.
Absolutely. They've issued strong statements denying any wrongdoing and portraying the lawsuit as a baseless attempt at extortion. They're also highlighting their strong financial position, pointing to their healthy cash reserves and their ability to weather this legal storm.
And they're emphasizing their long track record of success in the gaming and hospitality industry.
Right. Arguing that this isolated incident shouldn't overshadow their decades of achievements.
It's a classic PR strategy.
Go on the offensive, control the narrative, and project confidence.
But the effectiveness of this strategy in the long run remains to be seen.
Right. The court of public opinion will likely be swayed by the evidence presented in the lawsuit.
And the judge's ultimate verdict.
Exactly. It's a high-stakes game of perception.
Yeah. And Genting Malaysia is pulling out all the stops to ensure their side of the story is heard.
But beyond this legal battle, they're also facing a more fundamental challenge.
What's that?
Adapting and innovating to stay competitive in a rapidly changing industry.
That's right. The world of integrated resorts is no longer dominated by casino giants.
It's a crowded
and increasingly
competitive market with new players emerging from all over the world.
And these new players are bringing fresh ideas and innovative approaches,
challenging that traditional model of casino-centric resorts.
They're focused on creating immersive experiences that go beyond gambling.
Right, incorporating elements of entertainment, dining,
shopping,
and even wellness.
They're also leveraging technology to enhance the guest experience,
offering things like personalized recommendations, seamless digital payments,
and interactive entertainment options.
Yeah. So if Genting Malaysia wants to remain a leader in this evolving industry,
they'll need to embrace these trends,
right,
and find ways to set themselves apart.
That's a tall order.
It is.
But they have a long history of innovation and a deep understanding of the Asian market.
It'll be fascinating to see how they respond to this challenge.
Yeah, and what kind of changes they implement.
And for those of us who enjoy a good business thriller,
this story is just getting started.
There are sure to be many more twists and turns to come.
Stay tuned, because we're going to delve even deeper into Genting Malaysia.
Exploring their global ambitions, their financial strategy, and their plans to secure their legacy in this rapidly changing world.
It's going to be good.
It's really interesting how Genting Malaysia's situation kind of shows this tension, between going after those short-term profits and actually like building something sustainable.
Right. On the one hand, they're celebrating these record earnings, fueled in part by those foreign exchange gains we talked about. But at the same time, they're battling this major lawsuit, facing a shorter casino license renewal, and grappling with intensifying competition.
It's like they're sprinting a marathon.
Exactly. And that tension, I feel like it's something that a lot of companies struggle with.
Oh, absolutely.
That pressure to deliver those immediate results for shareholders,
Right.
but also the need to invest in long-term growth and innovation.
It's a classic dilemma, right?
It is prioritize today's gains, even if it risks future potential.
Or play the long game.
Yeah.
Even if it means weathering some storms along the way.
And that's where I feel like strong leadership is just absolutely crucial.
Oh, totally.
Effective leaders can balance those competing demands,
right,
making those strategic decisions that position the company for success, both now and in the years to come.
Yeah, it's a delicate balancing act for sure.
It is. And for Genting Malaysia, the stakes are incredibly high.
Yeah. The decisions they make in these next few months and years
Yeah.
are really going to determine whether they remain a global leader in this industry.
Or fade into the background.
It's got all the classic elements of a good business drama, right?
It does. High stakes.
Fierce competition.
Legal battles.
The constant pressure to adapt and innovate.
And at the heart of it all, I think, is this fundamental question.
What's that?
What truly defines a company's success? Is it just about maximizing shareholder value?
Or is there like a broader responsibility to employees, customers?
Yeah.
The communities they operate in?
That's the question that Genting Malaysia needs to answer.
As they navigate this challenging period?
For sure. Their actions are being watched by everyone.
Investors, analysts, industry observers.
Everyone wants to see how they balance these priorities.
This deep dive into Genting Malaysia offers some really valuable insights, I think.
Yeah.
Into just how complex global business really is.
The challenges of leadership in a rapidly changing world.
And the factors that drive long-term success.
Yeah. It's a reminder that even the most successful companies aren't immune to challenges.
Right. Adaptability, innovation,
and ethical conduct
are essential for sustained growth.
Okay, so before we move on too far, let's zoom back in on Genting Malaysia's response to these allegations.
Okay.
They're not just passively watching their reputation take a hit.
Right. They're actively defending themselves. Trying to reassure investors.
Exactly. They've issued these very strong statements denying any wrongdoing.
Okay.
And framing the lawsuit as just this baseless attempt at extortion.
Right.
They're also emphasizing that strong financial position,
right,
highlighting those healthy cash reserves and their capacity to handle this legal battle.
And they're reminding everyone of their long track record of success
right,
in this industry.
Arguing that this one incident shouldn't overshadow their decades of achievements.
It's classic PR.
Go on the offensive, control the narrative, project an image of confidence and stability.
Whether that strategy will be effective in the long term?
Who knows?
Remains to be seen.
Public opinion will likely be shaped by the evidence presented.
And the judge's final verdict.
Yeah. It's a high-stakes game of perception.
And Genting Malaysia is using every tool at their disposal to ensure their side of the story is heard.
But beyond this legal battle, they're also facing this more fundamental challenge.
Yeah.
They need to adapt and innovate to remain competitive in an industry that's rapidly evolving.
You're absolutely right. The integrated resort landscape has shifted dramatically.
Yeah, it's no longer this exclusive playground of casino giants.
It's a crowded, fiercely competitive market with new players emerging from all corners of the globe.
And these newcomers are shaking things up.
They're bringing fresh perspectives and innovative approaches that challenge that traditional casino-centric model.
They're laser-focused on creating these immersive experiences that go beyond gambling.
Weaving in elements of entertainment, dining, shopping, and even wellness into their offerings.
And they're leveraging technology in some really exciting ways to enhance the guest experience, offering personalized recommendations, seamless digital payments, and interactive entertainment options.
For Genting Malaysia to maintain its position as a leader, embracing these trends and finding ways to differentiate themselves from the competition is going to be crucial.
It's a tall order.
It is.
But they do have a history of innovation.
Right.
And a deep understanding of the Asian market.
It'll be fascinating to see how they respond to this challenge.
And what kind of transformative changes they implement.
And for those of us who are drawn to these high-stakes business dramas,
this story is just getting started.
There are sure to be more twists and turns, and we'll be here to guide you through each development.
Now let's shift our focus to Genting's global ambitions.
Okay.
They've been making moves to expand their reach beyond Asia.
Particularly in the United States.
Right. Their recent ventures in Las Vegas and New York demonstrate their commitment to tapping into new markets and diversifying their revenue streams.
Their Resorts World Las Vegas property,
which opened in 2021,
has been hailed as a game changer for the Strip.
with its innovative design, cutting-edge technology, and diverse dining and entertainment options.
It's a clear indication of their willingness to push boundaries.
And redefine the integrated resort experience.
They're not simply replicating their Asian successes. They're adapting their model to cater to the specific preferences of the American market.
And their expansion into New York. The opening of Resorts World New York City in 2011.
And the recent acquisition of a license for a full-scale casino in downstate New York.
Positions them strategically in one of the most lucrative gaming markets in the world.
It's a bold move, considering the fierce competition they'll face from established players.
Like
MGM Resorts and Caesars Entertainment.
But Genting has never shied away from a challenge, and they clearly see tremendous potential in the U.S. market.
These global ambitions are certainly exciting, but they also come with inherent risks.
Expanding into new territories requires significant investments.
And a deep understanding of local regulations, consumer behavior.
And competitive dynamics.
And let's not forget the potential impact of the ongoing lawsuit.
Right, a significant financial payout could really hamper their ability to fully capitalize on these expansion opportunities.
It's a delicate balancing act.
They need to weigh the potential rewards of global expansion against the risks and challenges involved.
All while managing their existing operations and navigating the legal and reputational fallout from the lawsuit.
It's a complex equation with no easy answers.
But one thing is certain, Genting Malaysia is at a pivotal point in its history.
The decisions they make in these coming months and years are going to shape the company's trajectory for decades to come.
Now let's zoom in on their financial strategies.
Okay.
How are they funding these ambitious expansion plans?
Especially with that potential major legal settlement looming.
They've traditionally relied on a combination of internal cash flow debt financing and strategic partnerships to fuel their growth.
But given the current circumstances, will those traditional approaches be sufficient?
Or will they need to explore alternative financing options?
Like equity offerings or asset sales?
That's a question that analysts and investors are closely watching.
Their recent decision to sell a stake in their UK casino business
suggests
a willingness to divest non-core assets to shore up their financial position.
It's a strategic move that could provide them with additional flexibility to pursue their global ambitions and weather any potential financial storms.
But it also signals a shift in priorities, perhaps indicating a move towards a more streamlined and focused portfolio.
It's a reminder that even the most ambitious companies sometimes need to make tough choices, prioritizing certain initiatives over others, and adapting their strategies to align with evolving circumstances.
Now let's talk about their plans to secure their legacy in this rapidly changing world.
What steps are they taking to ensure that Genting Malaysia remains a dominant force in the integrated resort industry for generations to come?
They're investing heavily in technology and innovation, recognizing that the future of the industry lies in creating seamless, personalized experiences
that cater to the evolving needs of a digitally savvy consumer base.
They're also focusing on sustainability, recognizing the growing importance of environmental and social responsibility
in today's business landscape.
And they're cultivating the next generation of leadership,
investing in talent development programs,
and fostering a culture of innovation and entrepreneurial spirit.
These initiatives are essential for any company that aspires to long-term success.
They need to constantly evolve, adapt to changing market dynamics, and ensure they have a strong pipeline of leaders who can guide them into the future.
And for Genting Malaysia, the stakes are even higher. They're not just building a business, they're building a legacy.
It's a legacy that will be shaped by the decisions they make today, and it's a story that will continue to follow closely as it unfolds.
This deep dive has given you some key insights, but the story is far from over.
It'll be interesting to see how Genting Malaysia navigates these challenges and what it means for the future of the company and their rivals.
Because this situation raises the question, how much do we really know about the financial inner workings of even the biggest companies?
And what happens when those inner workings are challenged?
It's a question that should give us all pause.
As we've seen with Genting Malaysia, the answers can be complex, revealing a tapestry of interconnected factors that shape a company's destiny.
This deep dive has equipped you with the knowledge to critically assess this situation and draw your own conclusions about the future of Genting Malaysia.
And remember, the story is still unfolding. Stay tuned for further developments as this fascinating saga continues. Wow, it's amazing how much we've covered already.
I know.
We've gone from record profits to a major lawsuit,
Shaky financials.
global ambitions.
It's a lot.
It really has. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something you said earlier
Okay.
about the tension between short-term profits and long-term sustainability.
Right.
It really feels relevant in Genting's case.
It's like they're trying to build a skyscraper on a foundation of sand.
Yeah, what happens when the tide comes in?
Can that foundation withstand the pressure, or will the whole structure collapse?
And that's what makes this story so compelling, right?
Absolutely.
We're watching a company at a crossroads trying to navigate this complex and rapidly changing landscape.
They have the potential to come out of this stronger.
But they also have the potential to stumble and fall.
It all comes down to leadership.
So what kind of leadership do they need to navigate these challenges successfully?
They need leaders who can think strategically balance those short-term demands with long-term vision,
Leaders who aren't afraid to make tough choices.
even if those choices are unpopular,
And most importantly, leaders with integrity.
who prioritize ethical conduct above all else.
It's a tall order.
It is, but the stakes are high.
Genting's success or failure could have ripple effects throughout the whole industry.
Influencing everything from investor confidence to tourism trends.
And it makes me think about the role of corporations in society.
Right. Is their sole purpose just to generate profits?
Or do they have a responsibility to consider the impact of their actions on employees, communities, the environment?
It's a question that every company needs to grapple with.
And there aren't always easy answers.
But one thing's for sure.
What's that?
Transparency and accountability are more important now than ever.
Consumers are demanding it, investors are rewarding it.
It's essential for building trust and ensuring long-term sustainability.
This deep dive into Genting Malaysia has been fascinating.
We've uncovered a lot.
Eyebrow-raising accounting practices.
Ambitious global expansion plans.
It's a lot.
But I think the biggest takeaway is that even the most successful companies are vulnerable.
But the business world is constantly evolving, and if you don't adapt and innovate, you risk being left behind.
It's been a wild ride.
It has, and I want to thank you, our listener, for joining us on this deep dive.
We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking.
And as we've seen with Genting Malaysia, this story's not over yet.
Keep an eye on this company. The next chapter is going to be just as captivating as the last.
It really is a fascinating story.